And he forgot to unmute his mic again. All right, hello my friends. I'm happy to have you here again. It's Thursday again. It's 4 p.m. and this is actually third or fourth stream in a row. So I'm trying to do this like once a week, and so far it's been working quite well, which is awesome. And we still have a lot of work to do on Kentico Advantage, but actually for the next stream, the next week, I decided to do a little bit of a change, as we're trying to create a starter for GridSum. So if you don't know GridSum, that's a static site generator. A great one, by the way. I really like that one, as it's very easy for beginners, and I like to call myself an all-time beginner, because whenever I don't touch a specific technology for 2 months, 3 months, then it feels like starting over. So very much like GridSum, and the next week I'll be creating a starter on GridSum. But today we're still working on Kentico Advantage. Still the same Gatsby site, and I have to say I've been having quite some issues lately with Gatsby updates and so on. But let's see. Kentico Advantage is still something that runs, right? We've worked on this one last time that it wouldn't build, it wouldn't work at all. But since then, I think we've made quite a bit of progress. Not developer, but Gatsby develop. Now I can't do multiple things at once, so let's see if this still works. I have to say I'm a bit unprepared today, so I will still have to open Visual Studio Code and other things on the right folder. So this is still open, but it's not. It doesn't have the right folder because I was just editing some videos and I finished like 5 minutes ago. So please excuse that, and I'll try to get into this stuff as soon as possible. So you see that this still builds. There are some warnings, but we're developers, right? We don't care about warnings. The only thing we care about are errors, something that would actually break the build. So everything is fine in my point of view. So let's see how that looks like. So we go to localhost 8000, and you see that the menu is still working. The logo's there, so it looks quite nice. Let me see if there is anything. There's nothing in the chat. If you're here, let me know. Write something in the chat. Maybe something that you're interested in. So that would give me ideas for next streams. But so far we're working on Kentico Advantage. Now you see that the last time we finished with actually having the menu implemented. Now this obviously doesn't go anywhere. This is the default Gatsby 404 page, which shows me I have just just 404 page, nothing else, only the index page. So I don't have anything else implemented here yet, but that's because I commented out a lot of stuff. So let me just close this thing, and we're gonna open the code here. Awesome. So what we did last time, we were at components and menu, I think. Was this the right one? So there's a bunch of styles. And yeah, we did this here. So we got the content items, nodes, and we were able to actually get also phases and reconstruct this whole logic to create the menu. So I don't necessarily like this logic, despite it was me who created it 2 years ago, but I didn't want to build the whole site from scratch, right? So that's why I really went through just upgrading this stuff. But the menu works, that's the important part. And we can move on to another thing. And let's take a look. So this is the layout. I think the layout has the menu in there. So let's take a look. So this is the header. We got the global styles, and I'm looking for mobile bar. Wonder what this does. Let me see if this is okay. Let's close this one. Let's see if this page is actually responsive. Okay, it seems it is, and it shows hello world, but the menu works, so that's a good sign. The hello world, I think, comes out of the main website component, and it's not here, so that's interesting. But we're gonna get to that. Right now, let's take a look. So the mobile bar seems to be working. The large bar, let's see what the large bar is. So large bar is fixed. So I assume that's the search button here, which goes to 404 page, I assume. Oh no, this is actually here. Nice. All right, so we're gonna have to fix that later on. But for now, it seems to be working. Nice. Oh, form action is /search. And it did not go. Did it go to search? Oh, it did. Nice. All right, so this is working well. So large bar is also fine. So let's go back to layout and see what we can do. So the menu, we fixed this one the last time. So the next item on the list is the right bar. Right bar. All right. So the right bar is just the flex div on the right. It's got some children. I assume that's gonna be the teaser over there. And it's got some additional stuff in the footer, but there is nothing dynamic. So this will work. So I think the layout is fine. I think layout will work quite well at this point. We still don't have the cookie consent here, but that's probably something that we inherited from the past. So you see there's cookie consent HTML and cookie consent is commented out. So I don't remember the history of this, but let's see. I don't have cookie consent there, but that might be just because I'm on localhost. So let's assume that this one works. So the only thing we need to worry about is the right bar, and layout should be working overall, if I'm not mistaken. So let's take a look at index page, and okay. So layouts here, I commented out everything else. So let's remove the comment here. And we're looking at three things. So Jumbotron, teaser, and project phases. Let's comment this out for now, and let's see if the Jumbotron and teaser are going to work. Okay. So we got the Jumbotron here, Cantico Advantage, that seems to work, project phases. Obviously nothing's in there, there's just hello world here. And the hello world is coming out of this page. Okay, so that's the index page. So we can remove that and this should disappear. And let's take a look at how the original page looks like. I think this is quite similar. Nice. There are some bit of a styling differences, but that might be just because I have a scroll bar here. That's the only difference. Nice. Okay, so we can move on to the project phases. Let's uncomment this and let's get to work. So project phases, we don't have them imported. So that's first thing I need to do. Project phases, I think they're also in components. Let's see. Yep, there they are. And this should break the build. Oh, yeah, here we go. But I'll just rebuild this to be sure. And we can take a look at how the project phases file looks like. So what's going on here? So I commented out the static query here, so it should only display project phases. Oh, here we go. So this works well. There are still some issues. Okay, GraphQL is defined. Okay, those are just warnings. Again, just warnings. I don't really care about those. So we're fine on that in that case. So let's just fix this. So we know that the component is working, right? So I can remove this bracket as well and uncomment this whole piece of code. And let's see. So we got phases here, all content item navigation. Okay, this is gonna fail because we don't have that anymore. I assume. Let's take a look. So what we want to do here, localhost 8000, and we want to take a look at the GraphQL. Are we running? Yes, we're running. Shouldn't take that long. And we want to take a look at what we want to display here. So we're iterating over all content item navigation items, edges, node elements, child items. So I assume we're filtering for a specific navigation item, which is nav project phases. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense because otherwise we wouldn't be able to distinguish between a phase and a subphase. So let me show you that on the real side. Here we have phases: gathering, planning, development, testing, and so on. But under them, there are functional requirements, and these are also phases, right? So we also need to display them the same way, but there is the difference that this is a subface, but we don't know that. The only difference between a face and a subface is that subface is actually a child of a face. So based on how the data are inserted in the headless CMS, we need to treat them. So that's the reason why in this query, we're trying to get children. You see, we're getting the all navigation items with this code name, and we're looking for child items, elements, and the content item, which will be the face in this case. Cool. So what do we do here? First of all, we need this thing to finally show me something. Why is this taking so long? Okay, GraphQL, 1, 2, 3 underscores, 3 underscores, right here. 1, 2, 3. I don't know what's wrong. Let's try to reload this. Oh, there is some issue here. Cannot query elements on type. Content item modular content element value. In project phases. That's fine. Doesn't break the build, so. But this still wouldn't load. What's the deal here? Let me see. I was doing some changes today to some of the projects. Maybe I broke this one as well. Let me see. So plugins are fine. What I was changing was, oh, this stuff. Okay. So develop should be just Gatsby develop, but it shouldn't matter because I started the project with Gatsby develop, right? So it shouldn't matter, but let's see if that presented an issue. Okay, 5 seconds. Wait. Here we go. Here we go. GraphQL error. Okay. Okay, here we go. So let me remove this. That's just the leftover from the last time, and we are looking right now. We are looking for all content navigation items, and we're looking for specific one. So nav project phases. So I guess we can go this way as well. So we're looking for system code name, and that should equal the nav project phases. And what we want from the item is edges node elements, child items. So elements, child items, value. And here you can see that we can go further. So we're looking for phases. If there is a child item with phase, and in phases we are looking for title, URL, overview, icon, and type. So I did not remember that, but we're looking definitely for icon. Yeah, for URL of icon. We're looking for title, URL, and overview. So title, URL, and overview. Now let's see what this produces. Okay, nothing. Nice. So let's see what's wrong here. We're looking for content item navigation item, which seems to be all empty. So let's take a look. Let's put here. So when we get the item, let's say we want not child items, but let's say ID of this item. Okay, we got the navigation item. We got the navigation item, so there is a problem with something else. And maybe I'm using child items when I should be using children. Let me see. So we're looking for phase ID. Okay, let's see. Okay, still nothing. This is still empty. This is still empty, so how do we get that then? Okay, this is fine, but we're looking for value. Let's say we only want the ID. Okay, this works. So apparently we're not getting phases there. Because if I define that I want only phase and ID, so let me just remove, okay, we're not looking for children, but elements child items. That's clear. And we got the ID here. So this should be fine. So what did I do wrong? I guess we don't have the elements. Let's see if we have the URL here. No, this shows nothing. What if we want the title? No, nothing. So the only thing we get are the IDs. Let me see if there is something on. Okay, we're looking for GitHub, content, Gatsby. This is the thing that I'm looking for. So maybe it's because we don't have the child relations anymore there, which should be quite easy to find out if we go here and go to not publishing. Where's the migration instructions? Oh, first we need to go into Gatsby source content plugin. And then we need to go into migration. Where's the migration direction? Not here. I would swear it was here just last week. Oh, upgrade section. Okay, that's what I'm looking for. Nope, nothing about children here. URL Slack resolution, content item, content type relations, reverse link relations. Okay, but for some reason I'm only getting IDs here, nothing else. So even if I go here and add something, let's try type name. Do we have type name here? Nope. We don't even get the type here, so we only get this ID, nothing else, right? Let's see. Do we get system fields? Codename? Oh, we do get codename. Nav. Oh, so these are the navigation items. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. We're getting all the children, but we were looking at the wrong types. So I'm probably one step ahead. So we're looking for edges, node elements, child items. So these are all the navigation items of the project phases. So navigation items, not the phases yet. And in these child items, we're looking for content items. So that was my bad. I was a bit too fast here. So we're looking for child items, but we're not looking for their ID. We are looking for navigation item. And in those navigation items, we are looking for content items and value. And in the value, okay, we don't need the system here. How do I remove that? This way. All right. So in the content item, we are looking for a phase. And on the phase, let's stick with IDs for now, but I think we're gonna get them. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 IDs. And when we look here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 phases. All right, so we're good. So let's go back and specify the actual elements that I want. So that was the title, URL, and overview. So title, URL, and overview. And then we are looking for icon, URL, and system type. Icon, value, URL. And why do we need system type here? That's interesting. Let's see if we use it anywhere. So data, URL value, URL value, value. We're not using it anywhere. So I'm omitting that. Let's see. Okay, so we got gathering, we got the overview and URL. Nice. So that's what I essentially need. So let's take this thing. Yeah. So let's take this thing and copy it over instead of this stuff. So query phases, that can stay the same. And we're gonna paste in this stuff. Just move this a bit around. And so I'm not gonna save it just yet because we have to fix this. So we're looking for data, content item, navigation item. Oh, we don't need the ID here, but we're looking for elements, child elements. Elements, child items. Child items. And we want to actually iterate over the value of child items. So child items dot value dot map, and we are mapping item. So this is the sub navigation item, right? So we're looking for item elements content item value content item dot value. And here we're iterating over the phases. So we return phase icon, phase dot elements dot title, URL value, that works, title value, elements. Let's take a look at the elements icon value URL. Value.url, phase elements, URL value, that's fine. Title, phase elements, title value, and overview value. Okay, I think we're fine. So let's save this and let's take a look how this is gonna look like. Oh, here. Okay, we got some error here. So finally something interesting. So your render method should have a return statement. It definitely should. Render. So what did I miss here? Render. Do I need a return here? Rebuilding development bundle. Let's see. Okay, guys, we got the phases here. And it seems to be leading to the right URLs. The only thing broken are the images, but otherwise it seems to be working. See that? Nice. So why are the images broken? I assume that's because I forgot that there was an array somewhere. Now let's take a look at the GraphQL. So you see that icon value, there can be multiple assets here. So this is an array, while I'm treating it as an object. So that's my issue here. So we're looking for icon value. So value is an array, so we're looking for the first value in the list. Oh, come on. Let's rebuild this. Maybe it's a bit too much. Develop for this that is already running. Okay, now I just killed you, so let's do it again. Here we go. There we go. Image is there. All the SVGs are in place as well. So looks like the site is now working. at least the main site, right? But it works fine. It's linking to the places where it should link, so that's cool. Now let's take a look, because right now this link doesn't go anywhere, right? We're gonna reach the 404 development page. So now what we need to do is fix the template for the pages or for the phases and fix the actual page generation. So let's take a look at the Gatsby node. Here I commented everything out. So maybe it's a good time to uncomment this. And let's take a look at the GraphQL here. So we're looking for all content item phase, all content item page, which we need to generate. And we are looking for, okay, so for phases, we're looking for the ID of the phase and for a value. Well, obviously, because in order to render something, if we look at the create page here, in order to render something, we need a path. So that's the URL. And we also need to know the ID, because the phase template needs to have something to work with, right? So that's that makes totally sense. So we're gonna leave the redirects here in place. That's for the older versions of the website, and we're gonna see if these will still work. So let's take a look here. Let's remove that. Oh, I think I need to leave the my query in place. Let's see if this is gonna work. Ooh, it seems to work. All content item phase. Nice. That seems to work. So nothing for us to do here. Let's see if this is gonna work. Awesome, this works too. All right, so I think that we are fine. There is something. If Edge knows system ID, I have no idea what this is. Phase that is not this ID. Okay, I think this is some kind of exception. Let's leave it as it is. Maybe this is something like don't touch this, it works kind of stuff. But let's say this works. So I assume we need to rebuild this stuff. And while we're rebuilding, I'll check if there are any questions here. All right, no questions in the chat. Nice. Okay, building development bundle. Oh, this is the original site. Develop process needs to be restarted. No. I'm gonna do it myself here. Okay. Seems to work. We got a bunch of errors here for scenario page, next press buttons and others. But that's just because I asked Gatsby to generate the phase pages, which makes sense. So let's see if something actually happened. Okay, so this is a phase page. So the template seems to be working. We got a bunch of warnings because no components that are imported in the page are actually used, which is fine. So that's this part, right? But that's fine because I commented everything out and returned a single stuff here. This is a phase page. So this works. We know that the page is working at this point. So I'm just gonna go into the wild and uncomment the whole thing. And I'm gonna do the same for the GraphQL query. While I do think that this is not gonna work. But we can try. Let's see. So there is a query that takes in the ID, right? So this is the ID that I was talking about like 2 minutes ago in the Gatsby Node.js file. So let me just take this whole thing and see if this is gonna actually work. So we need an ID, right? In order for this to work. So let me actually grab one of the IDs. Oh, this is a page. but this is a face. Okay, I'm just gonna jump into the headless CMS and see if I can find an page ID of a face. So Kentico Advantage. So we're looking at the Kentico Advantage stuff. We're looking for face. Here we go. Here we go. So we are looking for content item details. Where do I find the ID? Come on. This is not the stuff. I think this is the ID. If I'm not mistaken, which could also be the case, but let's see. So equals this part. Okay, nice. So we don't have the result HTML. That's one of the things that was mentioned in the upgrade instructions. So we don't have the result HTML. We have to use a resolver for that. I think it was somewhere over here, right? So use the Kentico Gatsby content components for rich text resolution. We're gonna look at that later. We don't have assets in the icon. There is only value and URL. In background, there is, so what does the background do? Background options. I think this is like a multiple choice stuff. Let's see. So this is the background. It can be blue. I don't know what else can there be. Let's see. Oh, this one is actually in draft. Let's take a look at the options. So green, blue, brown, red, gray, light blue, violet. So this is something like a multiple choice. Let's see what we have here. We have only value here. And I assume here it's going to be code name, right? So this is kind of nice. You don't have to worry about this being an asset, this being multiple choice. It just simplifies everything with having just a single value name here. That's nice. Then we're looking at scenarios. Scenarios are linked items. So you see there are none here. But essentially these are child items, and we're looking for scenarios. We're looking for system and elements, title and detail. So we do want to have that here right away. So we have to change this. Let me see where we are. So we're looking at scenarios. Scenarios. Here we are. Oh, what did I do? Oh, here it is. Scenarios. So on value. And under the value, we're looking for scenarios. So this is quite neat. So in the previous versions, what I had to do is get all the items from the list and then manually pick only the ones that have the type scenario. Here I can do it directly from the Explorer. So that's nice. So we're looking for value content item scenario. And on the scenario, we're looking for ID. Well, I don't think we need to have that ID, but whatever. But we're mainly looking for title and detail. So those are the two elements, detail and title, exactly as we have them here. And then we don't need the ID. I don't think we need ID at all here. We used to need that when this wasn't that clear, but right now I think we're fine like this. Then we're looking for references. So that's on the same level as scenarios. Here we go. So references. And I'm not sure, so we're looking for title and URL of a reference. Link, page, face, scenario. Okay, none of them actually fits that. Let me see if we actually do have the model here for that. So on the face model, we are looking for references, and those are, okay, those are links. So that's the link right here. And we're looking for elements, title and URL. No need to have the ID there. Awesome. So now we can remove this part. And I think we are fine. We are finished here, guys. We're still gonna have to figure out how to resolve the HTML, but so far this query will work this way. So I'm just gonna copy that over instead of the old one. Okay, I'm just gonna copy it from the edges so that I don't have to change the first row. Okay, here we go. So this is the first one. And I assume that we're gonna need to do the same thing as before, and that is to name these queries. Or maybe not. Okay, wonder if there is a way how to make this prettier automatically. Maybe if you do know about something, let me know in the chat. But so far it works, kind of works. So we do have the phases solved. Now let's solve the navigation items. Is it over here? Okay, let's take a look. And I think we're using the ID. No, this is equal enough. Okay, so let's see. This doesn't work. All right, so we're looking for a navigation item. So not for all, but only for a single one. Content item, navigation item. Oh, lowercase k. And we are looking for, not for edges, we are looking for elements directly, which means we have 2 extra brackets here. So for child items, and in child items, we're looking for value. And in the value, we are looking for content item. So we're looking for phase, I guess. Let me see. So what are we, how are we using that? So all content item navigation item. So we're looking for all navigation items. I'm trying to see how we are using that. Here we go. So we're looking for all navigation items. So I guess this is for the next breath buttons. Right. Wow, this is quite complicated. This is quite complicated logic. I think that's because it also needs to take into account the hierarchy that's between phases and subphases. So let's take a look what we can do here. So we were originally looking for child items and elements, which now is elements, child items, value. And then we are looking for content item, which is phase in this case. Or it can also be a page if we're moving between phases, so we can go to conclusion. So it can be either of these. And on these, we are looking for ID and we are looking for subphases. So phase. Okay, let's take into account only the phases, yeah? And we are looking for subphases and ID of those subphases, if I'm not mistaken. Here we go. So elements, subphases, system ID. That's exactly what we want, so we can omit this. Let's take a look. Unknown argument filter. Yep. I think we are looking for codename equals. So system codename equals nav project phases. And we can remove this. Okay, so this is empty. Let's see what's wrong here. So maybe it's the same problem as before, that I'm being one step ahead. So we're looking for not this one, but this one, all content item navigation items. So here we're looking only for one, and we're looking for its child items. And in those child items, we're looking for content items, right? So that's again the same case as before. We can't go into this thing just yet, but we are looking for link or navigation item actually. Navigation item, not face. Navigation item, and in those navigation items we are looking for elements. We are looking for content item, its value, and if this is a face, we are looking for its ID, and we are looking for the subphases and their IDs. That's what I'm looking for. Okay. And do we really need just the IDs? I think we do. System ID, nothing else is here. Cool. So this is the fixed query. Oh, here we go. Okay, so that's fixed. Content item, navigation item, and all content item phase. Well, we could also do it in a bit of a different way. If we're looking for only the ID, we don't need to go through all content items. Okay, let me just copy the face ID again. Let's take any face here. This ID. Oh, come on, what's wrong here? Expected name, found end of file. Am I missing one here? Yeah, guess I was missing one bracket there. All right, so what we can do here, instead of using the all content item phase and filtering, we can say content item phase, remove the filter, and just keep the system in place. Then obviously this is not going to be edges, nodes, and we're just going to go directly to elements, and we can remove the two brackets here, and we should get the same result. Cool. So I'm just going to copy this over. Actually, I can adjust it directly here. So we're looking only for content item phase, no filter, but go through system, one less bracket here, and we can go directly into elements, so we can omit these two at the end. And we should be fine. In terms of the GraphQL, it's probably not going to work. We have to change this, but that's a different story. Okay, let's see. Okay, I got one bracket missing somewhere over here. I think it's this one. No, still something wrong there. Face.js. Okay, I'm just gonna make this a bit smaller so that I can start counting. Elements. Okay, how do you guys know of a way how to format this? Okay, this is much better. So we're looking for elements. This is okay. This should be also fine. References, system ID. This ends elements, value, references, and this ends the elements, system ID, and item face. This is fine. Let's see if this still works. It seems to be okay. So we got the system code name and so on. Then we got the elements. Okay, let's go this way. Subphases, elements, the face item, value, content item, elements, navigation item, value, child items, elements, and content navigation item. This seems to be fine. Okay, now he's happy with that too. Cannot read property edges of undefined. Okay, that's a fair error. That's because there is no property like that, obviously. So let's start fixing that. So let's go back up here, and we're looking for data all content item face, which is now content item face. And we're not looking for edges and node. We can go directly into elements. Let's see where this is used. Face, system ID. I think this is gonna work. Let's see, where else do we have data? Here. So all content item navigation item. Nope, only one. So content item navigation item. And we're going directly into elements, child items, and into phase. Okay, this should work. Where else do we have data? Nowhere. Okay, let's see. Okay, data content item navigation item elements child items for each is not a function. So content item navigation item dot elements dot child items elements dot child items. Yeah, because child items have value. That's the problem there. And I think we're gonna have a very similar issue somewhere below. Let's see if we have child items anywhere else. No, these are only content items. But I think this is the same, it's gonna apply here. So on content items, I assume we also have that value. Let me see the GraphQL query. Yeah, content item also has that value. So is array content item dot value, content item dot value. We can find where else do we have that. So this one is gonna be replaced. This one too. This one too. Okay, that's it. Okay, let's see now. Can I read property ID of undefined? Face nav content item value system.id, but that's because there is no system.id, but directly ID. If I'm not mistaken, let's see. So we're looking for content item, value, and there is ID directly. So let's see, where do we have system.id? And I think we're gonna have to change this to only ID. Let's see. Content item value 0. ID, face ID as well. Okay, here we go. Okay, cannot read property 0 of undefined. Okay, here we're getting into options. So you know that the options was replaced with value. So face line 81. So no options, but value. The same goes for icon. That's also value. No longer assets. Value. Okay, let's see. So see, it's slow fixes, but it's quite clear what to do. I mean, the errors are quite explanatory. Can I read property replace of undefined? Okay, we don't have text here. Parse tables. All right, so there are some helper functions. Let's see. Face 26. Text after text replace. All right. So where are we using at anchors? HTML parse tables. Okay, I think that we're gonna leave this one for the next week or the week after, because these are related to the resolving the HTML of the rich text field. So that's the parse tables stuff. But otherwise, let's see if there are any other issues. Cool. Otherwise, there is a 0 here, which should be fixed probably. But otherwise, it seems to display the icon. It has the teaser here. It doesn't have the content, but that's fine. It doesn't have the on this page because this is also related to the rich text resolving. But otherwise, okay. Now here we got a little bit of an issue in the menu. So the LE elements should go to URL like this, or we can do it in a fancy way, you know, like this, just to make sure this is not relative URL. And I assume the same is gonna have to happen here. So like this. Cool, now this works. But you see, pages are correctly generated. Awesome. And the backgrounds are also working, so I would say that this is slowly starting to work. And you see that it's quite fast as well here. Now, some of the parts are still not working, like a conclusion here, but we're gonna work on that later. I think that we can, with this progress, I think we can call it a day. So it's almost an hour of the stream, so that's nice. I don't want to do it longer, as that might be a bit tiring for everyone. So yeah, I think this is a nice place to where we can leave it. And next time we're gonna work on the rich text resolving. So that's this part. How to create the table of contents and how to resolve it using the component. So there's a quite nice tutorial on how to handle that. So I'll try to do it the next time, and hopefully we're progressing slowly into creating and finishing the pull request and the whole website. So thanks for watching, guys. Let me see if there are any questions. No, there are no questions here. So thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you next week, the same time, 4 p.m. The European time, 3 p.m. BST. Make sure to be back here on YouTube live. I'll be here too. So see you then. Bye.